Hey everybody, and welcome to another episode of Average Joe's 3D. I'm your host Fergie, and today we're going to do another unboxing. We're going to unbox the JGAurora A5. This comes from GearBest, but all of the unboxings I've been doing lately, the Ender 2 and the new A5, all of this equipment is equipment I bought myself. It wasn't provided by any manufacturer or company. This is my own money. So let's talk about the A5. Now there's some pluses and minuses. The pluses, it's got a nice big build volume. So as a backup or to complement the Creality CR10, it works really well. Secondly, it's very modern. It has power restart. It has filament detection, touchscreen, nice frame on it, steel frame. It's all one unit, so I don't have extra power supplies hanging around. All that's a plus. The minuses, I've heard that the firmware isn't the most current version of the firmware for the board, but it can be flashed. Some people have had a hard time leveling the bed because the Y-axis is actually part of the base of the device. So I've heard that there's problems with that. But all in all, people like Nerdy are using it for prints. It also has that black diamond build plate on it that grabs really well. So I thought I'd take a chance on it. So let's open it up now. Oh. All right. Let's get it out. Packed really well, just as you would expect. Styrofoam and styrofoam and styrofoam. So let's go and cut these out. There we go. Alright, so let's open it up. Okay, so the first thing we get is the warm tips. It says, to whom it may concern, you purchase a DIY kit. We've done a lot of testing before delivery. The joint main body and base, as well as the nozzle, has a slight abrasion because we tested it. So if it looks used in the box, it's because it was used when they tested it before they sent it out to ensure printing accuracy and artistic appearance. So that's kind of nice. You get a little mini spool of white filament. It's nice. On some of the new ones I've got, like the new Ender 2 that I did the other day, is basically a wrap. It's not even in a spool at all. It's sort of wrapped up and put in a baggie. Okay, so let's go to the next thing. So it looks like we have to take out the plate. The Y build plate is already in place. I'm looking at the diamond print. Now I can see what they mean by abrasions. Let me see if I can zoom in here. There we go. I'm looking at the build plate here. See some scratches there? They're the only imperfections on the plate, and that must have been where they used something to dig out underneath to get it out. So that's what they're talking about seeing some abrasions, because they did test prints to make sure it worked. See if we can get this back in. There you go. Alright. So let me take out the base. And the base is pretty darn heavy, but everything's attached. Okay, so underneath here, let me go ahead and pull that out. Comes out as a big tray, kind of nice. Nice tray there. So here's all the other parts. Let's go ahead and take a look at this. I've got the filament spool holder. I have the entire frame. Okay, so now, if you could take a look here, this is the entire upper frame in the box. Everything's attached. Looks like the hot end's already, this must be the extruder. Everything is hooked up. Now, here's a couple of things down here that I'll have to attach myself to the base. And I'm assuming there's going to be a bunch of wires for stepper motors, hot ends, and extruders I have to put together myself. Okay, here's a smaller, it says parts and tools for 3D printer. Let's see what they include. Before power on, please refer to the instructions on the USB stick. So I got the American plug. I know the EU plug or European plug is cheaper for some of them. This is the same price. I have, hey, this is SanDisk, nice. So this is actually a SanDisk memory stick. Instead of being a micro SD, it looks like it's a standard SD, which is kind of nice. It's going to go right in the USB plug. I got an extra nozzle. I've got USB cord. I've got extra nuts, bolts, and screws. Here's my toolkit. And what are you here? Come here. I don't even know what this is. In order to get perfect printing results, we suggest you level the platform with, oh my gosh, look at this. This is a test card to level your nozzle. It is pretty amazing. Instead of using a piece of paper, they actually give you a piece of plastic that you can use. That's the right gauge. There's no guessing about the thickness of a piece of paper in order to level the nozzle. That is super duper cool. Okay, so let's get this out. All right. And set this aside. And is there anything else? There's nothing else in here. That is it. What I didn't see was your standard side cutters. I didn't see. There we go. I did not see the little putty knife that they usually include. I didn't see that. I didn't see a screwdriver in there. I just saw some Allen wrenches as tools go. So, and I know this wasn't a really expensive machine, but those things are always cool to have. I have quite a few of them already, but it would have been nice to have a couple more to add to my collection. Okay, so basically in the box, they call this a DIY kit. This is DIY to them. You're going to attach this to the frame. You're going to take your base and you're going to set it inside of this. Here we go. Like so. And once you hook everything up, that's basically it. It comes with like 2 parts. That's it. So that's pretty cool. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and put this together, and then I'll get back to you when it's completed, and we'll power it up for the first time. Okay, so I've got it together, and I want to show you the video that I found on the memory card that came with it. Okay, this is a quick installation guide. So let's go ahead and zoom in here. Watch this guide. Simple assembly video. Ready? 1, 2. That's it. That's the instructions that I saw. Now the good thing is, it is that easy to put together. There are 4 screws on the bottom that hold it together. There's 3 screws for the filament holder, which is great. And then plug it in, turn it on. The power switch is on the back. Let's see what we get when we power it on here. Here we go. Alright. Here we go. Okay. It beeped at me. It says JGAurora color guide that we're used to. Okay, so let's home this guy. So you can move the x-axis, y-axis, and z-axis very easily from this place. I'm just going to hit home. I've heard that when it goes home, it does this hard double bounce on the plate. Let's see what happens. And it's coming down, 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 down. Down, down, down. Takes forever. Here we go. Well, it does press the build plate down, but I think that's because I haven't leveled it yet. So I'm going to go ahead and level the bed, and I'll be right back. Alright, so leveling. I just finished leveling. Now when I leveled it, it was off quite a bit because this has a dual Z. So I had to go through, use a tape measure, and measure each side from bottom to top, and then spin the screw until they were even. Now you're going to want to spin the left side and not the right side, because the right side has the hard stop with the limiting switch. So adjust this. Once that was adjusted, it seemed pretty even. Now when you go to level, you set the level, it has 5 points. You can do them in any order. Now the first one is the back left corner. See, it homes and then it goes back. Then the second point is the right corner. You're going to want to go around a couple times to get it even, of course. But once you have it, it should be pretty good. And then you can check the home, or the 5th position. Alright, and then you can check home. Once again, using the little guide that was provided for you here. So the next thing you would do is extruder. This is where you can go through and you can push in or out. So you can actually physically load the extruder, which is over here. Behind this pillar is the extruder. And zoom in. As you can see, you can go in, you can go out. You can go fast. You can do it by like 5 millimeters. Extruder one, there's only one extruder. But I wouldn't want to start doing it, of course, until I had it heated up a little bit more than 24. So we go to heat, and we go to extruder 1. That's a bed. Okay, there's the extruder. And we're going to want to increase it. Now you can increase it by 1 centigrade, or you can just crank it up like that. So you can control how you want to heat it up. And then once you're done with that, you can set. Now this is where you can pick your files, your Wi-Fi, which on the earlier versions there was no Wi-Fi. This has cloud. It also says disabled. Actually says ready to print here cloud, but disabled. And I don't see anywhere that you can actually go in and put in your Wi-Fi information. You can do fan, you can continue, you can change filament here, in and out with extruder number 1. And of course they do have more. Now the more is basically nothing, it just says more. So let's do our first print. So we did our print. I printed the kitty cat that was on the original card. So as you can see, the kitty cat came out pretty good. This hasn't been touched up or cleaned yet, and yet it's very smooth, very accurate. Now, what I learned is I usually level the beds for the Ender 2 and the CRT a little bit loose when I put the material or paper underneath. When it just first starts to grab, that's when I stop the adjustment, and it works pretty well. With this one, because it has that diamond plate on it, you have to go down a little bit further. This diamond plate is textured, and if you're not shooting the filament deep into the texture, it won't hold, and you'll get something that doesn't turn out so well. So let me show you some of the first prints that I did and what happened because I didn't have the bed adjusted far enough down to have it adhere to the bed. I got this, a lot of that. 2 or 3 prints came out this way, and I couldn't figure it out until I looked at the bed and realized it got about this far and then just popped off the bed, which with the JGAurora is not supposed to happen, and that's how I knew it was a problem with the bed itself and my leveling and not something else, because this is literally one print. It got this far, and then when it came home, it was that. Not too great. Other than that, I think that the printer worked really great. I'll definitely use it as a mainstay in my studio to print out all sorts of creations, because it does seem to hold really well. When it cools, the pieces release really well, and it just seems to be pretty reliable. So that does it for another episode of Average Joe's 3D. I'm your host Fergie, and as always, go ahead and subscribe in the link below and hit that bell so you can get notifications of the new posts that I make. Hope you enjoyed this episode and you have a great day.